Our next panelists highlight the importance of school-to-home partnerships, which is really critical. We've heard it from students today. The governor visited about that this morning. The general talked about that in his keynote as well. Schools were never designed to be the solution alone. So our three panelists bring years of experience, different viewpoints, and proven strategies to help support the academic, emotional, physical, and social well-being of every student. So please help me welcome to the stage Tracy Famous from Bismarck Public Schools, Sarah Ricks from Dickinson Public Schools, and Chris Murch from Northern Cass Public Schools. I kind of feel at home with some of you on the stage here, and Chris and I had a fun little conversation as well. So super glad to have you here. And I think the insight that you're going to provide to the audience is really critical, not only for the educators in the room, but for parents in the room, for community leaders in the room, for principals, administrators. It's really something that I think that they all need to hear. So, Tracy, I'm going to start with you. You've kind of gone through this journey from parent involvement to family engagement. And while some people might think those are the same things, they're very different. And so kind of talk about how that process happened, what you've learned from that, and maybe some of the things that you're doing to support schools in engaging families.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for having us here, and thank you for prioritizing the involvement of parents when we're talking about education. And so with Bismarck Public Schools, for years, we have worked on parent involvement, right? And we have goals at every school that we're going to involve parents in what we're doing, so that they can learn about what is your child learning at school, right? Regardless of what division or what grade or what classroom or what school. And so in doing research, just looking at how can we shift that a little bit, because parent involvement really is, as educators, we are leading with our mouth. We are planning, what do we want parents to know? How do we want them to be involved? And traditionally, a lot of that came through us planning activities, right? So we might have a parent night around math, around reading, around some of our other core content area, and we would plan that and plan what we thought were really fabulous evenings where parents would really learn. And we would send them home with tools that here's how you can now support that learning and make some connections between home and school, and we felt really good about that. But as we dug into it a little deeper, we weren't getting the engagement from parents that we were really hoping for. And so what we realized is we needed to shift from leading with our mouth to leading with our ear. So really means bringing parents and community to the table and collaborating together and asking parents, and these are your children, what would you like to see parent involvement? What would you like to learn more about? And I just even think, what a great example. Kind of not fair, you put us up right behind students singing and putting on such a great performance, but it really kind of teed this conversation up really well. We know historically one of our best attended events is when we are showcasing our students, particularly at our music performances. We get many, many parents showing up, and just realized if we start to engage our parents in those conversations, what's important to you? What do you want to know? Help us to learn more about what your needs are. So that's really kind of that shift. And another goal that we have is making sure that we are connecting with families and that first contact with home is a positive contact. And really asking them, what would you like us to know about your child? What would you like us to know about your family? And what experiences do you hope your child has this year? And how can we support them in ways that those experiences can be very positive?
As a parent, like that really speaks to me. And I will say, I wasn't planning to share this, but my kids go to school at Bismarck Public Schools, and it was the first day of school. I've got a first grader, and all of a sudden, my phone rings, and it's about 3:05, 3:08 on the first day of school, and it's my kid's school name pops up, and I thought, okay, missed the bus, crying, having a hard first day at school, and here it was his teacher calling for that exact thing, like, I noticed him doing these things, and he had a great day, and so thankful to have him. And I think, like you said, leading with that positive, making those relationships and connections can help to just build those bridges for kids so far into the future. So love that. Sarah, you have 5 kids. 2 of them have been volunteering today, which is awesome. So, but you also have a unique perspective because you're an administrator in this building. So you kind of have this dual role of administrator and parent. So talk a little bit about, like, as a parent, what do you want? What do you value? But then how is that informing your practice as an administrator?
Thank you, Marie. Yes, I have 5 children, and my twins are here today. They're going to be going into high school next year. So this past year, I had 3 children in the building with me as an administrator, so the communication was excellent. But generally speaking, what I really value as a parent was first that you're trying, that you did reach out to me. I've also had experiences where my first contact was positive from a teacher or from an administrator, and I really value that. I think the second thing is, though, that when you're reaching out to me about my child, whether it's for something positive or maybe something they're struggling with, that the communication to me is that either you know my child, I can tell that you know them because you're giving me specific examples, or you're trying to get to know them. Because each one of them are very unique. I'm sure those of you who have more than one child also know this, that they are not the same. It does not matter if they've grown up in the same household. They all have unique needs. And so before I can even engage with you as a parent, I need to know that you're trying to get to know my kid and that you believe in them the way that I do as their parent. So then on the other side of that, as an administrator, I think what I want to bring to the table when I'm reaching out to families is that empathy and that place of non-judgment. I'm trusting you that you as a parent are doing your best, and you're entrusting me with your child at this school every day. And so then together, we need to figure out what we can do. And I'm gonna bring my best ideas based on what I know about your child, and you're gonna bring your best ideas because you have them at home. And then somewhere in the middle, we're gonna find that sweet spot where we can help your child learn and grow.
I hear a theme between your two about it's the listening piece, listening first, right? Listening to learn, listening to understand. And so thank you for sharing that. Chris, so you're part of the Northern Cass bunch over there. Go Jaguars. And so your district is really leading in a lot of the innovative, policies, opportunities, flexibilities in the state. So that obviously has to involve community. It has to involve families and parent voices. Can you talk a little bit through, like, how do you do that as a school board member? How do you help to, like, lead that vision and ensure that they're having a voice in the path forward?
Well, on the school board level, I think it's really important that we listen, and we've started working through on the personalized learning journey. We've been doing that for 4 years now, and I think that one of the best things as a school board we can do is listen, like I said, but also we realize that we need strong leaders to lead the charge down this change, and we need passionate educators. And so one of the things we do is we like to empower our leaders to take that stand and give the resources that we can to the educators to make it work. So that's what I think is important.
Love that. And I think that that's critical in order to kind of give them it sounds like some flexibility and autonomy to then fulfill the vision that you've kind of set out as a community. Okay, so Sarah, a little bit about, can you guys kind of dive deeper into, I know you, mom, educator, now administrator, just, finished your doctoral degree. Like, talk about kind of your journey back into the classroom and into school, and kind of how that shaped, your kids have helped to shape your view and perspective on what learning should look like for kids.
Absolutely, thank you. Yes, I have had a long, maybe winding journey in education. Started teaching a couple of years before children arrived, and then twins right off the bat, so that didn't work with teacher's salary and daycare. That just wasn't going to happen. So I got the privilege of staying home with my kids for about 9 years, actually. During that time, was on the school board, and then was able to get back into the classroom and now be on the administrative side. So seeing my kids learn and grow and struggle at home really shaped my desire to get back into the classroom, because they are so unique and they're so passionate and so creative. And I feel like that's something I wanted to feed in education in general. And I think the way that families come into that is, like Tracy was saying, you've shifted to inviting families in, and we've had the experiences with my family where we've really been invited in. There's a teacher here today who had my children in 4th grade. I was working at that time and very busy, but she knew that I was interested and engaged as a parent, but I probably wasn't going to get the flyer that she sent home. I might not even check the class dojo because there's just too much going on in my life, but if she reached out and invited me and asked me to come on that field trip, I would change my work schedule and I would be there. And so I think similarly, the schools have invited my husband in, he's a pediatrician, to talk to kids about being a doctor or about having autism, some different things. And so I think just the sense of knowing that families are unique too, just like kids are, and that when we know the family's unique perspective and the family's strengths, and we can invite them into our schools, it creates a better educational system for everybody.
Love that. So kind of talking about bringing outside in, Tracy, social worker at an elementary school, now leading some, district level work to help other schools do great things for kids. Talk about community partnerships, because that was really big for you. Again, schools can't do this alone. We know this has to be, all in for our kids. Talk a little bit about your experiences with bringing in community partners to really help support families and kids.
So when we talk about education, right, with children, like, we really try to look through that lens of the whole child. And so knowing our kids don't come in with different silos of learning, right? We don't have academics and cognitive and social and behavioral and operating differently, but it's that whole child perspective. And we need help. We need help from our community. We need help from our stakeholders. And so we are moving towards in what's called kind of a big fancy name of an interconnected systems framework, but really what that means is that we are interconnecting what we're doing. So with our stakeholders, one example being our mental health providers in the community, we're interconnecting our services and bringing them into the school so that they can be a part of a child's school team and they can provide those supports at school, but in a very collaborative way. Even some agencies that sometimes make us nervous to work with, like our human service zones, bringing them to the table, and not in families are now being referred, but come to the table and help us collaborate and identify the gaps that we have in our community so that together we can try to fill those gaps. So we're really trying to expand that interconnectedness, and it kind of goes back to that wraparound philosophy, that if we wrap families and we wrap students with services, that we will be able to meet needs and have positive outcomes. Well, by opening up our school doors, we're wrapping services around all of us together as a community, because they're our kids. They're all our kids, and we're working towards the same goal. We want students to be healthy and to be successful and have positive outcomes.
So Chris, I'm going to jump to you. As a school board member, and we hear all these conversations. We heard students talk about this morning. Governor challenged us with it this morning as well. How, as a school board member, do you see your role and really your peers on the board shaping the future of education? What does that look like, 2 years from now, 5 years from now?
Well, like I said, we try to lead or allow the leadership of our district to move us forward. For me personally, I try and be a role model to the district. If someone is looking for information, they can use me as a resource. They don't always have to go to the administration because maybe they're more comfortable talking to me. So to me, that's an important thing. And moving forward, it's listening to those around us, those in the community. They have good ideas. They may come to us and want to be part of our district, whether it be through our studio concepts or some of those things, that they can come in and be part of the change in our buildings. So.
Yeah. Sharing the story is really important, absolutely. So kind of as like a wrap-up, again, didn't necessarily prep you for this, but captive audience, many listening online. There's one thing that you could like say, highlight, 30-second elevator pitch. Home, community, school partnerships. Like, what would you want people to know?
I'll jump in. This was my first year as an administrator, and so I had to, for the first time, reach out to families more than ever before at times when there was a struggle of some sort. And I have just been incredibly humbled by the response of families in our district that I've been blessed to work with this year. And so I think the lesson that I've learned and that I think we can all learn is that families really want that communication and engagement, even when it's around some sort of struggle. They want the best for their students and everyone else in the building and in the district and in our state. And so I think I've just been incredibly humbled by the generosity of spirit that I've encountered when I've had the courage to reach out and engage families.
And I would just say, I think we're all sitting here for a reason. We all have our story, we all have our path that led us here, and we all have our why we are connected to education and families and community. And for me, my why every day when I get up is thinking about my family and my children and keeping that at the forefront of my mind as I'm working with families or if I'm working with students and we come across struggles. How would I want my child to be treated in that situation? Or how would I myself want that experience to look like? And helping that to guide me in my work with community, families, students, colleagues. What is our why?
I think one other thing, that I think is really important to remember is that your educators probably love those kids just about as much as you do. So remember that when they're in there making a decision, that they're making choices for you because they love your kids too, and remember that and come in and embrace the educators too, because they want to be part of your life and part of your child's life, and they're a huge part of it because they spend almost as much time as you do with your kids. So I guess that's what I would say is remember that the educator loves the kids too.
Yeah, no, perfect way to end it. Help me thank our panelists today for their expertise and their stories. Thank you. Lots of words of wisdom there, lots of good things for us to think about and reflect on, especially, whether you're a parent, whether you're a teacher, grandparent, community member, you have kids in your neighborhood, policymaker, all of the above. I think all of these things are good for us to sit on, think about, reflect on, and then do differently and do better. And so as we've just learned, family to school partnership is a critical connection for student learning and success. The next video demonstrates an opportunity for families in our state right now to support their child's early development at home. So let's watch and learn more about Waterford Upstart.
In the capital city of Bismarck, North Dakota, former state senator Erin Oban is about to take that big step of sending her child off to school for the first time.
Evan is 5. He is an October baby, so he will be starting kindergarten this fall. New experience for us.
Despite having experience as an educator and a legislator, when it was time for Evan to learn to read, Erin was at a loss.
Neither of us had any idea how to do that, like how to teach our child how to read.
30 minutes north in the rural town of Wilton, kindergarten teacher Michaela Greff is also preparing her daughter, Hazel, for school.
She's really excited about learning and being in school, and she just has a lot of fun with everything she does.
I have just pulled a big train load with big machines over the mountain.
That fun is expected to continue this fall when Hazel is in her mom's classroom.
I was really excited about that as a teacher because I have kind of the unique opportunity of being her kindergarten teacher next year.
Despite their different locations and background knowledge, both of these moms are confident their children will walk into kindergarten prepared thanks to help from Waterford Upstart.
I literally can't believe how much he has learned. It's hard to deny what those results are when you're watching it happen right before your eyes.
Waterford Upstart provides the tools that help families truly engage, including coaching and messages personalized to their child.
She feels good about coming to kindergarten. She knows what's expected of her. She knows all these words and how to sound out, knows all of her letters, and she's just really excited to show what she knows.
The average Waterford Upstart graduate will enter kindergarten reading at a nearly first grade level.
Barbie takes her pet to the vet.
That kind of proven success led to federal and state funding in North Dakota, making the program free for families. Here in Wilton, district leaders want to bring the program from the home into the classroom.
I'm thinking that Waterford could really be a supplemental intervention for those kids that, we're always trying to catch up.
I would swim in a puddle.
Waterford.org, the nonprofit that created the Upstart program, also provides their award-winning adaptive learning software in the classroom from pre-K through second grade, based on the needs of the individual district.
So in North Dakota, we have small districts, medium districts, rural districts, and we want to really work with them to figure out what are they needing, what does that look like.
This program, whether in the home or the classroom, provides fun and engaging lessons in reading, math, and science that lay the foundation for success in school.
If I can make a decision to help get them learning and growing and exposure to things really early on, that's going to significantly impact them as they go throughout their educational careers.
These educators and families believe the benefits are clear.
What I love about programs like Waterford Upstart is that it is accessible to everybody, no matter where you live. It provides options if affording a computer is difficult, if your education level maybe is not where you can support, much like ours. I didn't know how to teach a 5-year-old how to read. What I would love is to guarantee any family who wants to use this program is able to do it at no cost.
If you feel this tool could be right for your child or your classroom, visit waterford.org to learn more.